BB851, turn right, heading 180. Order 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
Hey everyone, welcome back to DJ's Aviation, and what I'd like to say is a first here on the channel of something I'm hoping to do in the future more of if I can. If you're not interested in hearing a little bit of backstory to this interview, please do feel free to skip to the timestamp on your screen, which is where the interview actually begins. If you're still here, and if you've been with the channel for a few years, or maybe even months, you're probably aware that given my age, I don't have a lot of contacts within the aviation industry. Now when I say contacts, I mean as in high-level people that say can provide news to me or more. This is something, of course, I'd like to work on more in the future, but unfortunately it does not happen overnight. While not having contacts like a lot of other places, I am fortunate enough to have a lot of employees from Airbus, Boeing, and airlines email me multiple times a week. These people watch my videos and interact with me on a regular basis, which is honestly very, very overwhelming for me. Since the second Boeing 737 MAX went down in March, it's been very important to me to keep you all updated on the situation unfolding. However small the update was, I still believed it was worth covering for you all. When covering these developments, I did so with the intent to be as unbiased and fair as humanly possible. My decision to do this not only came from witnessing how other people's bias can impact views, but also because my general passion for the aviation industry doesn't mean I see sides like some others. I've been fortunate enough to interview a Boeing employee who works on the 737 MAX, the aircraft which crashed twice in 6 months. This interview is very important to me as for so long the blame has been put on board members at Boeing, the company overall, the aircraft and more. However, we very rarely get to hear how these employees who are not at board level are feeling, which is maybe something we also naturally forget about. These employees, after all, are human. So in the past week, I reached out to my patrons and followers on Twitter, giving them the opportunity to put forward questions to an employee who works on the 737 MAX. Obviously, for the privacy and safety of this person's job, I can't give names and specific positions, but please know this position has been validated and I can confirm that this person does work for the company. The process for this video will go as follows. I'll say the question, read the answer, and go over some discussion to keep it as interesting as possible for you all. The first question, which I believed was incredibly important given the current situation at Boeing, is what's the morale like on the plant? The response I got was as follows. Morale in the plant is pretty somber as one would expect. Rumours of layoffs and more rate reductions have folks on edge, even though management has said that there'll be no layoff or further rate reductions, which is true. A take we haven't heard that much about, and one that is concerning for those working for Boeing that need to provide for their families and now have their jobs being put at risk. The second question, as mentioned, that I picked from my community's questions was, when the first MAX crashed, were you surprised? Or had you had some feeling like, I knew it, given what's been revealed now? What crossed your mind when the second MAX crashed? He said, when the first MAX crashed, we were a bit stunned, but given it was Lion Air who already had a bad track record for safety, we all assumed that was the culprit. When the second MAX crashed, then we all knew something was amiss. In my career at Boeing, nothing has ever hit me that hard as these two incidents. No one could explain what had happened until further investigations came out. You might say Boeing is now paying for its sins of the past and present, and there is a lot of sins it has committed in my opinion. Before I move on to the next question, the comments made about Lion Air should not be taken in a bad way, as it was a first thought by this person. However, it does definitely fit into line with what I at least saw the vast majority of people assuming was the cause for the incident, especially in the hours following. We've seen over time people look immediately to airline's location or even its safety record when a plane goes down. Usually we seem to ignore the aircraft because it is brand new and not, say, 40, 30 years old. The next question is an important one given the current view of Boeing. The question is, how will Boeing regain the trust of the flying public and the general public? What are Boeing's plans to do this? The response I received was as follows. Regaining trust of the public will take a major undertaking on the company's part. I really have no idea, but I have sent an email directly to various board members with an idea I came up with. The idea was to have myself and my family, and also my team members and their families, go on certification flights on the MAX once certification is approved and video the entire event, showing the flying public that Boeing families have faith in our product and it should show the world that we have faith in the MAX. These board members responded, telling me that they like the idea and will look to their PR people to add to the list of ideas that are being looked at for this purpose. What do you think of it? That was a question posed to me and also really widely everyone in the comments. The idea of emailing a board member, even the CEO directly, is something again we haven't heard a lot about, but no doubt has happened across various plants. Employees are desperate to make this company, which has been home to so many for so many decades, back where it's supposed to be, as an aircraft manufacturer which the general public can trust. We're now at the halfway point of this interview. Question 4 was, how intense was the pressure to get the MAX ready on the production line and actually delivered to customers? This question I believed was necessary, as with the various safety flaws now appearing, it's become apparent that Boeing were attempting to put production before safety, as their backlog continued to grow by the day for the type. The employee's comments completely confirmed the suspicion many had. He said, the pressure was enormous, not just from a final assembly point, but when I was working in fabrication, my team was working lots of overtime to get the plane in the air. At the time, I didn't understand what all the rush was about. A lot of people have said on social media they will never fly Boeing again. They'll never fly a 737 MAX again. While I can't say that these people are just riding the wave of having a go at Boeing, I do believe it's a concern that Boeing needs to address. The MAX incident has been made to be such an important public issue that even someone who doesn't know what Boeing was before March now knows what a 737 MAX is and will likely try to avoid it. Or will they? While a lot of aviation enthusiasts, analysts and more have made some brilliant points, the main point being, how long until the general public forget about the 737 MAX incidents? I asked the employee if he would personally fly on a 737 MAX once it's back in the skies. The answer may shock some of you, but it definitely carries on from a previous question. He said, would I fly the MAX? In a heartbeat, and my family would too. It'll be the safest plane on the planet from here on out, I can assure you, because I know what goes into building them. I am on the floor right next to 10 of them every day and watch our teams assemble the plane. It's a very coordinated event, one that I never get tired of watching. We are all proud of the 737. It's our baby. The second to last question involves something that has sparked a lot of controversy, but something I wanted to hear a Boeing employee who works on the 737 MAX opinions on. That question being, there have been a lot of rumours about renaming the 737 MAX. Do you truly believe this would be a good option for Boeing? He said, renaming the MAX? That's a good question. Probably not, and here's why. Sure, at this time the word MAX will be related to the 737 crashes, but once the flying public starts flying on it and the publicity surrounding it goes away, it will be forgotten, as with most other crashes that occur. People are inundated with so much information every day and have a very short-term memory. I can probably ask any person in any airport what plane they are flying on, and probably 98% will have no idea. They just want to get to their destination. Just like the DC-10 crashes in the 1970s. They were grounded, but when they were back in the skies, people flew on them again. Once again, this answer is what a lot of people are expecting. Like a lot of things, 6 months after the MAX gets back in the air, there'll be something else, not necessarily aviation related, that'll catch the eye of the general public, and the 737 MAX will be thrown into the dark and really no longer talked about, maybe only though by aviation analysts and aviation enthusiasts. The final question is, what's the output rate during these days while the plane is actually grounded? He said output rate at this time is 42 per month. We're running out of space though to store them. So San Antonio, Texas is where some of them are being flown to now. This is public information from Boeing. We're getting caught up and quality is improving. We just rolled out a new MAX last week with 0 travelers. A traveler is an incomplete 737 that goes out to the factory and onto the field, and the teams have to follow it to finish whatever jobs need to be completed. So we are very proud that we've met this milestone. That's the interview. The employee that I've interviewed was incredibly kind and happy to answer as many questions as I wanted to ask, providing he could actually provide information on the questions. However, I did keep them short and sweet. If you'd like me to maybe make a part 2, do let me know over on my Twitter, as it's really hard to monitor comments here on YouTube. At the end of the day, companies can be more than just companies to some people. As for this person, Boeing's been in his family for decades upon decades, and going to work there feels more like a second home. That's why despite all of these issues with Boeing, that I and many others are not failing to acknowledge, we do have to sometimes give a platform to those workers who sit quietly not getting their voices heard. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for watching this. Without your incredible support, getting people from Boeing wanting me to interview them simply would not be possible at all. And for that, I say thank you. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. I do very much look forward to you all joining me in the next one.